for Mr. Cove with the passing of James Arness from Gunsmoke. How many episodes of that were you in, and do you have any fond memories of that?
Well, I was in one the last year of Gunsmoke, and it was, you know, a terrific experience. And he was a lovely fellow. And I remember we were young actors, and he would stand there in front of us. He was doing this show for 21 years already, you know. He lasted 22. And he would pull out pages of dialogue and says, I don't want to say this, and Doc, you can say this, and Festus, you can say this. And we're all dying for dialogue, and we were all very young, and we wanted to be in this Western, this classic Western, and talk. And we all did the same thing, you know, family badasses. You know, I think I killed Ron Howard's father and his mother in this show. And I remember just having so much fun with him, but not having a lot of dialogue. And great story about Gunsmoke. I had just come from New York, and they all thought New York actors would always tell these wranglers in Hollywood, oh yeah, we can ride. Because an actor always says he can do anything. Can just fly in, you know, kites. Yeah, I can go up there and skydive, and you know, I can.
Yes, always yes.
Yeah, if you're allergic to the cereal in a commercial audition, yeah. You like Cheerios? I love Cheerios. You break out in highs
and you always
just to get the part.
And these wranglers were used to actors coming from New York, as I was. I came from New York and telling them they can ride horses. Well, in the first scene, I tell them I can ride. In the first scene, I'm galloping down, you know, a hillside. My hat falls off, and the call cut. And he says, "We're replacing you with a wrangler." And I said, "What do you mean, man? My hat fell off. I can really ride." He says, "No. You guys say all the same thing." So they replaced me for the entire show. And then the last scene, we had to gallop down the center of the town, because we break my brother out of jail, and we're supposed to ride to the right and to the left of the camera. And the camera's sitting on the ground prone, looking up like this. So we're full bore gallop, and the other actors go to the right, other actors go to the left. I take the horse over the camera. And it looked great. Everybody just shit. They all said, "Wow, that was fantastic. Oh, that's wonderful." And the wrangler comes up to me and says, "Man, where'd you learn to ride like that?" And I looked at him and I said, "Prospect Park, Brooklyn." You know, and of course I was the hero for the day. But that's the kind of wonderful stuff that would go on in these classic shows. And you know, you just try to just have fun in the daytime. You borrow your horses and ride around the set and just say you got to get used to the horse, when really you just wanted to be part of, you know, the day's work. I mean, it never ended with the day. You just want the day to end because it was such a classic environment, you know. But I'm just doing more westerns. I wish we all could do some more westerns, you know. Just don't make enough of them.
We've got about 10 more minutes, so if you have any questions, that's all we have.
So I guess this is primarily for Billy, but you guys can probably shed a little color on it too. I mean, Billy's kind of famous for the bully roles, but this one, you know, your character winds up being bullied by the end of it. But Sensei, just talk about the difference there than some of the other stuff you've done.
Say that again?
By the end of the movie, your character is being bullied.
In the first crime?
Yeah, by the Sensei instead of being, you know, the top dog, whereas in the other, you know, Back to School, just one of the guys, you know, you kind of stay a bad guy through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Well, Johnny had a redemptive moment at the end. The other characters didn't. They just got what they had coming to him. And that's what I hung on to the whole time in the movie. I knew at the very end he gets to hand him a trophy. So that you know, because my true nature is that guy. So I got to be, I could play as far out of the line as I wanted with that, be as evil and mean, because I knew at the end I'm going to say, you're all right, LaRusso. So, you know, it wasn't so much being bullied at the end as much as it was being enlightened that, you know, all the Cobra Kais were kind of waking up to the Darth Vader that's been training us that we didn't realize, you know, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, something's wrong. Like our moral compass suddenly goes, wait a second, this guy may be off, and, you know, but then he says, you know, sweep the leg. You have a problem with that? And I say, no, Sensei. And he says, no mercy. I mean, it's like he's trained us. I mean, he says, no mercy. I mean, when I'm looking at him and he says, you know, do you have a problem with that? And I say, no, Sensei. I'm terrified. I'm like, what the hell's but he says, no mercy. Then the next thing is just like, he's just snapped back in, and it's just, he's just all about breaking the knee, and he's just in this mode. In a way, you know, we all win at the end. I mean, me losing is all of us kind of being liberated at the end from the evil Sensei Kreese, really. You know, we're kind of like looked up to the wrong dad, you know, in a way. No offense, Dad. You know, we worked our differences out now, you know. But, you know, as you see as the Karate Kid 2 in the parking lot, when he chokes me out, that's his true nature. I took second place, that's not good enough. So, you know, so but of my bad guys, that was the you know, the other guys didn't have a redemptive quality to them. They were just, you know, more, just, you know, one took, I think just one of the guys that went to a punch bowl and back to school, you know, I had a cramp. I got a really bad cramp. That was what I got. Being a schmuck.
I'll share something kind of interesting about Karate Kid experience for me is because I was only in the first one. However, I was lucky enough to be sitting right in the middle, the scene between Billy and Ralph. If you look at that scene, in the middle, in between his leg and your leg, it's me, right in the middle, in the audience. So I wasn't available for 2 or 3, but they still had to negotiate with me because my likeness was in 2 or 3. So I got contract for 2 and 3 without even being in that's just being in the right place at the right time, and that's that
you did that on purpose. You were always in front of the camera. You saw a camera, he'd get the stand. He knew 2 or 3 were coming. Larry's in every shot if you watch closely.
I don't think so. So you get in where you can.
That's a good point, Larry. I was wondering, Billy, Marty, any residuals when they're on catch on cable, DVD, Blu-ray sales? And Billy, you did the great Blu-ray pop.
I never, you know what, I did it and I never watched it. Is it good?
Oh, great.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Are you guys getting checks in the mail when they're on TV and things like
Right now, yeah. Every day we
Keep watching.
Every time that you flip by it on the channel, you know, and the longer you watch, the more we get. It actually knows how long you're watching. No. Yeah, you know, residuals go forever. I mean, that's part of it. They go down, you know. But then there's researches like when the new Karate Kid came out, it boosted interest again. It goes like that. So sure, that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, every time it's on, you get a certain amount of residuals on a sliding scale, and it'll go on for a long time.
Netflix, Blu-ray, all that.
Billy's bought a whole set of dojos in Brazil on his residuals. He owns 452 dojos.
And some fish shops called Cobra Kai.
The Gracie brothers owe him their lives.
MMA?
Yeah.
He started it.
This question's for all you guys. I'm just wondering if any of you have ever had a bad or a negative experience with a fan that, like, maybe somebody comes up to you and thinks that they're a tough guy or something like that.
I had a terrible experience with a 6-year-old. I really did. I was in Malibu in a market right after Karate Kid 1, and all of a sudden, there's a 6-year-old, right? And all of a sudden, I get a slam, punch, lunge, punch. It must have come on to me, but I don't know what. Right in my solar plexus. I'm not solar plexus, my sciatica. And I turn around and it's this little kid. It's in Malibu in the market basket, and I just wanted to strangle him. And there was this gorgeous woman right there, and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." My son gets so emotional and when he remembers movies, and she was so beautiful, so gorgeous. It just didn't hurt anymore. It sounds terrible. Ring this kid, you know, and I couldn't wring his neck because his mother was so fantastic. So I said, "Oh, it's quite all right, you know, it's okay. Just, I have another hip." And we parted. But this kid really hurt me, and he was obviously very involved and very taken by, at the age of 6, of, you know, what we did to Ralph, and he was punishing me.
It sounds horrible. It sounds terrifying.
I get more of nerves than I do for it because I did such a small Karate Kid. People just want to beat me up. Oh, with nerds is kind of interesting for me. Nerds, I got a lot of the it's different time now. See, back then it wasn't, oh, and now it's okay to be gay and flamboyant and out there. Yeah. Back then my name was That's Him. I was like, what do you mean? Is that good or bad? Oh, you know. And they've since, warmed up. I got offered to be the marshal of the gay parade, and in case you don't know, I'm not gay. I have nothing against people being gay. I got nothing against that. Just having issues with people trying to stick it in my booty. But that's not anti-gay. That's anti-sticking stuff in my booty. So that's what I really get it for. Once they realize that I'm not, I've gotten a lot of people who thought I was gay, and they come up and thank you so much, and I'm like, or. And but from Karate Kid, it's more of a connected dot. Most folks kind of remember me afterwards and go, wait a minute, you were in Karate Kid. And but you don't know at the time, like these guys are saying, you're just trying to do the work as an actor. You don't know, you don't get to choose what's going to be the great work before it's done. And it's more like a connected dot thing. It's so folks don't recognize your career, then you do one thing and all of a sudden they recognize everything. But you don't know which dot is going to be the dot to make them all realize it. So you just keep making dots, and you hope that folks like yourself recognize it. And when they comment with that, believe it or not, as much as we have problems with, that's a good thing for us. If they come back and say something to you, that means you touched them. And so that's really what we want to be as an artist. We want to be able to touch you and make you feel. And how we make you feel, well, hey, as you see, it can go together.
I was in Malibu. I was with my mom, and I saw Marty Cove. I punched him in that thigh. He thought I was sick. He was drinking a lot back there. But my mom was pretty hot. Yeah, that was it.
I thought your mother was that person.
Thank you. I had some guys. I had some things. There was supposedly some gang in the valley that thought that wanted to kick my ass. Like somebody told me, hey, there's a real karate gang that they're after you. I'm like, tell them I'm an actor, and unless it's choreographed, I'm gonna lose. And then I had a guy. One guy came up to me at Denny's or Jerry's Deli and said some things like, "You want to go outside?" I'm like, dude, you know what? Yeah, because after a while, people think you're really that guy, and it's like, like if you really think that's who I am, I go, I could be that guy if you want to go outside, but we also be just friends, you know what I mean? I go, if you actually knew me, we'd probably be friends. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So we want to go outside, or you want to be friends? He goes, yeah, let's be friends. Good choice. Then go back to your table. Yeah. No, people are funny. It's ridiculous. But that's about it. I have one other thing, but I'm not going to get into that because I'm still in litigation on that.
Yeah, we have one more question. Time for one more.
When you make a movie like this, do you walk away with lifelong friends that you stay in contact with, or do you not see each other for 10 years or something like this? Stay in contact around other people.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of like having a family. Like you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. It's like that.
He calls me crying every night.
We stay pretty. Really. I would say more over the last 10 years. I think. After the movie, kind of ran well, did our things, and really kind of just starting to come back. Larry, I haven't seen you for years.
What you think about Ralph in Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah. I loved him in Dancing with the Stars.
I gotta tell you, I was totally blown away because Ralph, you may not know, is not the most coordinated guy. So,
but he's a dancer.
For me to see him that blew me away.
Well, he was a trained dancer since he was like 10. Did you know that?
No.
Obviously. Jazz, yeah. His jazz hands, he's like...
Because he was the one, and to his credit, he had a lot of problems with getting the karate down at first, and he really had to be one of the folks that was the hardest to really make it stick.
Yep, so, I made that really hard for him on purpose.
He didn't make it easy, he was really good.
Billy was on Jimmy Kimmel Live as a judge on Dancing with the Stars.
Did you see that? Anybody see that Jimmy Kimmel bit?
That was awesome.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel had me be the 4th judge on Dancing with the Stars, and I'm in my Cobra Kai headband and my red leather jacket, and they cut away to Ralph. I don't know if you saw him, but he was always doing like this and his expressions. What did I I said, you can leave well enough alone, could you, LaRusso? Look at you, little twerp. You can't dance, your hips are swivel. You know, you see your hips, your hips don't hivel. You have the grace of Snooki at happy hour. Go back to Reseda, punk. Will Smith's kid would demolish you. A zero, LaRusso, a zero. And I give him a zero. And then Bruno said something and I do a backhand. But it was all green screen. And then, you know, it looked like I was like the 4th judge on Dancing with the Stars. It was really funny. It was on YouTube and it just got pulled down. But there's some websites you can find that. Anyway, it was a fun bit. So we kind of were still goofing at each other. Ralph texted me after, he said that was really funny. And so we stay pretty good friends. I mean, it's kind of like a fraternity. It's kind of like, you know what it's like? It's like your high school friends in a way. Like that was kind of a time, like it was like college, like a frat. You know, you don't see him after a long time, but the second, like I saw Larry and I was like, dude, you know, I feel like yesterday, you know, you just want to hug him. So there's a lot of, we made really, really deep bonds on that film. And it would have been that way even if the movie didn't turn into what it turned into. It was just that kind of experience on the film. You know, it's just neat that we get to come out and revisit it and share with you guys.
Well, and on that note, guys, let's give a big hand for the...
Have a good